Back to your shanties. To the Marks Bank Real Estate Hotline, Joel Corry, former sports agent at CBS Sports. What's going on, Joel?
Yeah, it's a little interesting comment by Jason Kidd. It's accurate, though.
See what I'm saying?
Definitely can't impeach it. No. So I feel like a lot of this conversation is probably going to center on wide receivers. I know you wrote about Cooper Kupp, and we want to talk about that. But what's your initial reaction to the Titans making the move that they made to let A.J. Brown end up with the Eagles and then draft a rookie?
I didn't see that coming. I thought if one of those 2019 second-round picks would get traded, it would be Deebo Samuel, since he made it very clear he wanted out. But this kind of seems like the Tyreek Hill situation, where signability became an issue, and Titans decided, let's reset with a cost-effective rookie, as opposed to what would be in their mind overpaying for A.J. Brown. It'll be interesting to see how the Titans' offense works from a passing game standpoint. Obviously, it runs through Derrick Henry, but you have Robert Woods coming off an ACL tear, who, before Cooper Kupp exploded, was one of the most productive receivers in the NFL, and you have an underrated tight end. In Cleveland, Austin Hooper was just a blocker. In Atlanta, he was a 75-catch, 700 receiving yard guy who played in the Pro Bowl. So maybe Burks doesn't have to jump in right away. If Woods is back to being Robert Woods and you get the Atlanta version of Austin Hooper, you can bring him along a little more slowly. Burks, that is.
Joel, I've been trying to get on my platform and defend Ryan and say Ryan's got to be the guy moving forward. They got him Traylon Burks. They went and got Bobby Trees. They got him Austin Hooper. And the first thing that you say is, well, Ryan Tannehill hands the ball off to Derrick Henry, man. When can that ever change? Like, in this world of wide receivers and passing game, will that change for a guy like Ryan Tannehill and the Tennessee Titans this 2022 season?
No, it's not going to change, because your MO is Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's injury, you're going to run that guy on the ground in a way that nobody's ever had usage. I felt sorry for the guy with the type of usage he had. He was going to have to defy serious odds to be effective after 2022 if they kept the pace up. So the injury actually helped him out from a standpoint that he has less mileage. But this is still it's a Derrick Henry-centric offense, and I don't see that changing.
You're killing me, Small.
How many? Yeah, really. How many wide receivers that are next in line that might not be immediately in line are going to be pulling hard for Devontae Adams, for Tyreek Hill in Miami, and for A.J. Brown? Because the teams that decided to move on from them or let them go in one way or another, Green Bay, Kansas City, and Tennessee, those teams have playoff runs in common and playoff appearances in recent years. So, looking at this market, what's the future of the wide receiver market considering what we're seeing?
Well, part of it's going to depend on how this draft class plays. If these guys step in and they're highly productive immediately, then maybe some teams are going to pause and think twice about giving that lucrative contract to receivers like Green Bay, Kansas City, Tennessee, et cetera, have done. But if these guys go back to how it used to be, where receivers took a while to really hit their stride, and you don't have really the Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase guys out the box putting up tremendous numbers, then that's going to help the veteran guys. Those two guys are going to get paid regardless, Chase and Jefferson, if what they've done so far is them just scratching the surface. But it's going to remain to be seen for some of the other guys. And then it's going to be, well, this is the third contract that Adams and Hill have gotten. If they don't play well on their second lucrative veteran contract, you're not going to see receivers getting that huge second lucrative veteran contract anytime soon after these guys, depending upon what they do.
So I have a question back, going back to the quarterback. We brought up the Tony Gonzalez 3% conversation. About 3% of guys want to win, like at all costs. At all costs. Being in that world where you gotta discuss contracts, how do you go about getting a guy paid that may not have all the tools that you're looking for? Like, we heard AJ had the health issues as far as the knees and whatnot. A guy like Ryan Tannehill, who who's pretty much been propped up, is what they've been saying as far as his career goes. Kirk Cousins is another guy. How do you go to the table when you have a guy that's less than to get them paid in that fashion?
It's all about timing and leverage. Cousins did something that quarterbacks don't do. He played through 2 franchise tags and hit the open market. He's a good quarterback, not a great quarterback. You never see quarterbacks of his caliber hit the open market, so there was going to be demand for him. Tannehill, right time, resurrected his career. Team played well. He played well. So you had 2 guys free, Henry and Tannehill. He had leverage to get the deal that he got. What I wanted to see that didn't happen was Dak Prescott not sign a long-term deal, play on the second franchise tag, and then would have been free this year. If you stuck Dak Prescott potentially in the open market, because the third franchise tag would have been basically $55 million or close to it, what would Dak Prescott have gotten on the open market? That's what I wanted to see. Didn't happen. I don't know what quarterback. Maybe it's Lamar Jackson, since he hasn't been in a rush to get a new contract, and his patience has paid off for him because the market has changed. But I want to see another quarterback hit the open market who's good and see what happens then.
Yeah, I think Lamar doing the 2 franchise might be exactly what he's going to do, which is a risk considering the way that he plays. But at the same time, he could end up breaking the bank. Speaking of breaking the bank, what was your reaction to what the Browns did with Deshaun Watson? Ooh. The contract being fully guaranteed, and what are the reverberations going to be throughout the league in ownership offices?
I called it a $94 million bribe because he was already under contract for 4 years, $136 million. It had eliminated the Browns from contention. So basically, they started pulling money out of the wallet, and they're like, "Will this get it done? Will this get it done?" It's like, okay, I'll be a Brown now. That's how I looked at it. It's NBA money because I didn't anticipate the amount of fully guaranteed money NFL contract more than doubling with the Watson deal. To put it in perspective, the $230 is basically Giannis Antetokounmpo guaranteed money because his 5-year extension with the Bucks is $228 and some change, and Steph Curry's 4-year extension with the Warriors is $215 million fully guaranteed. Other quarterbacks have to capitalize on it. It didn't happen with Cousins when he got his fully guaranteed $84 million contract as a free agent. Nobody followed after that. The guys to watch to me are Kyler Murray. He's wanted a contract in the worst way. He's been very impatient. The Bidwells are a cash-poor team in Arizona. With that escrow requirement, we have to put basically the future guarantees in escrow. I don't really see that one happening. I'd keep an eye on Russell Wilson for a couple of reasons. If you get the Walton family buying that team, Rob Walton, I think that's who it is, then that's deep pockets. So he wouldn't have the excuse of, I don't have the cash to put in to meet the funding requirements. 2, also Russell Wilson has a baseball agent in Mark Rogers. And baseball players' contracts are fully guaranteed traditionally. So he probably shouldn't have a problem pushing the envelope trying to follow in Deshaun Watson's footsteps. Then also Lamar Jackson. Biscotti, the Ravens owner, acknowledged this could be a problem. But if none of those guys follow up with a fully guaranteed contract, then it's going to be an anomaly and not a